what's going on? Welcome back to episode 196 of the No Clue podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Mike.
And I'm Tyler. Welcome. We're back.
We're back.
Right into football, man. You said you want to talk about some quarterbacks.
Yeah, man, it's weird. Like, what we got, 3-4 weeks left.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that there's debate as to who's MVP right now.
Yeah, there is. I mean, it is weird that there's debate, but I feel like the debate can be, condensed down to basically what Michael Parsons did on the podcast
Oh
last
yeah.
week.
Oh yeah.
That's really the debate to me. I mean, it's not a debate for me personally, but I think that's what the overall public debate is.
But it's
Is it
it's
the
it's not like giving Hurts the MVP like puts him above Mahomes.
right?
Because to me now it's them two because Allen has been trash and Tua is now starting to look trash and there's
Yeah,
really nobody else.
right.
But to me, like Hurts, while his stats haven't been as crazy as
Hmm.
Mahomes, maybe he's
Hmm.
been flawless.
Yeah,
He hasn't had a bad performance while Mahomes threw away 2 games.
yeah.
Like blatantly, the Indianapolis game right to fucking the defense. And the
That was an
Buffalo
atrocious
game.
game.
And the Buffalo
Yeah,
game, admittedly, like it was a crazy kind of messy play. You still live to fight another day.
yeah, and it was the best. Is probably the best team in the league.
Right. But to me,
Hmm.
like even Philly's one loss and they only have one
Yep.
was like there's hella moments of other guys making mistakes while Hurts was just making the right play.
Yeah, and it's another level of Hurts just plain disrespect this year.
I know. It's
Yeah.
insane.
I'm with you. I'm completely with you. I think Hurts has earned it. I think Hurts is the leader of that team. I think that team completely runs on how not necessarily how well Hurts plays, but how ready Hurts is for the game.
Yeah.
Because he does so much more to that team than just throw the football. And obviously Mahomes does too, and he does it a little more. But it's like the Eagles coming from just being okay in last year and being garbage the year before to being nearly undefeated this year is just a step up that I think only an MVP can do.
Yeah, man. And then you look at it, last year he was decent and they were a decent playoff team
Hmm.
or a decent team that made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now he got like exponentially better at the one weakness he had.
Yep.
And now everything about his game looks better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, like if down the stretch, if Hertz throws away a game or has like a
Hmm.
bad against Dallas in a couple weeks,
Hmm.
like then maybe we could come back and be like, okay, Mahomes is kind of back in it, and maybe he took the lead.
Yeah.
But we're talking about a guy who threw away 2 games versus a guy who's been flawless. To me,
Hmm.
like that's not a debate. And you look at it earlier in the season, everybody was so quick to give it to Josh Allen.
Yeah. And he really hadn't done anything yet. He's just been
Nothing.
playing basic. Yeah.
So
Just had a
that to
few
me, like I need
spectacular
I need
plays.
Hurts to get that same energy.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, can't offensive player of the year be a quarterback?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like the argument easily could be those guys have both those spots and just however the voting
Yeah.
goes. But I mean, Mahomes is doing spectacular things.
Oh, for sure.
He is. But the team now that's one that obviously Mahomes is spectacular, but his team is also spectacular. Not that the team is more spectacular, just also spectacular. Um, but I don't know if I would say that about the Eagles. The rest of the Eagles team, they're okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like other than AJ Brown, none of their other additions jump out every game to me.
No.
Like their defense was
No.
good last year. They make a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more like highlight plays, but
Yeah.
they're not the Niners.
Right.
They're not even like Denver to me.
Right. Right.
So I don't know, man. I feel like it's just weird that Buffalo was getting no credit as a good roster, which they are,
Which they are
while
probably the
Philly,
best out of the three, out of these
yeah,
three teams we're
while
talking about.
Philly is like it's all roster. None of like the quarterback is a marginal piece.
Yeah.
I,
That's what
I
I
hate
mean.
that.
That's the one issue I've had with the Josh Allen love as of late is that they act like Josh Allen is out there doing everything for the team. And the team is just really, really good overall. Stephon Diggs, it would be the best receiver on all three teams we're talking about.
Bro, with Jalen Hurts, Stephon Diggs would be probably putting up even crazier numbers.
He would.
Because
He
it
would. And
ain't
obviously with Mahomes.
like AJ Brown got there, and it's not like Hurts is only accurate to him.
Right.
Like Hurts is just getting the ball to everybody.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like Allen's still really only consistently accurate to Diggs.
Yeah.
Occasionally the tight ends, but that's pretty much it.
Right.
So
Right.
it's not even really a comparison to me with how consistent Hurts has been.
Yeah. He's been by far the most consistent. He doesn't do the highlight stuff that Mahomes does, which I understand for casual fans. It seems like Mahomes is doing really spectacular things more often than he is, but that doesn't make him more valuable.
Yeah,
Hurts is definitely to me the MVP by a long shot.
yeah.
Yeah. What else?
Um, there was two teams I wanted to talk about that have now been, to me, officially exposed as fraudulent. One because of the team, and one because of the
Okay.
quarterback.
Okay.
And it hurts to say because they were a pick for me to like, and they have kind of exceeded expectations and been good.
Mm-hmm.
But Minnesota is not a threat. They're not a threat, flat out.
No, they're not.
Their defense is just horrible. They're in shootouts all the time.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, their record kind of validates Kirk Cousins
Mm-hmm.
because the offense hasn't really thrown away games, outside of a couple of just flat out dominant performances by the other teams they've played.
Yeah.
But it's their defense is atrocious.
It is. It
Which
absolutely is.
which I thought they upgraded guys in the offseason and they're worse.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to picture. You look at the complete teams like the Cowboys, who already destroyed them and
Yep.
probably would again. The
Yep.
Eagles, who destroyed them, who probably would again.
Mm-hmm.
And I could almost guarantee the Niners would destroy them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're getting killed by teams in their own division.
Yeah.
I'm watching the Lions game, and they had to fight to make it a one possession game at the end. Like you had to fight to climb out of getting blown out.
And the Lions, at least started this year, were terrible.
Terrible.
And they're still just basic, like really basic.
Yeah. They've been
The
hot,
Vikings
but.
and the Vikings on offense, they really just don't make a lot of mistakes. And they kind of just capitalize on other teams by the other teams making a mistake and them just still not making a mistake. Cousins is
Yeah.
a steady quarterback. He's been that way. But he doesn't make the big time plays. He doesn't have the crazy stats all the time. But this year they've just been on a roll of being steady. The whole team was steady.
Yeah, I do think
This year started out really
Jefferson.
rocky for a lot of teams.
Yeah, and Minnesota was kind of one of them until a good month into the season.
Mm-hmm.
But Jefferson's rise has kind of helped steady Cousins to me.
It has.
Where in the past, Cousins had been at his best when Thielen was the clear number one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he has another guy who's like a clear number one, he seems
Yeah.
a little more confident of where he's going to go with the ball.
Yeah. Yep. Preseason, they lost every game.
Yeah. But again,
badly.
it's a good year for them, but they're not beating the NFC elites.
No, they're not. They're not. And it seems like a lot of times that they did win, they caught people at like the worst time. Like, yeah, they beat the Dolphins, but Tua was out. Um, they beat the Saints really early. Saints weren't. I mean, they're still not very good, but they definitely weren't good at that time. Um, beat the Bears, no surprise. But that was before they caught on too. They had
I really
injuries as
haven't
well.
heard any good wins.
No, yeah, beat the Packers.
That's
Okay,
easy.
and they did beat the Lions, but like I said, the Lions started out atrocious. Beat the Cardinals. They started out atrocious. The Commanders. I don't know who was the quarterback at that time. Yeah, they beat the Bills. That was a big game. Patriots. That was the game that they couldn't figure out who was supposed to be quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and then the Jets, who they Jets still don't know who the
Or
quarterback
no, no,
is.
no. The Patriots game was when Mac Jones lit them the fuck up and
Oh,
had like
okay.
300 yards, and everybody was like, "Oh, okay, Mac is the starter clearly."
Oh, that was him trying to earn it back, even though they lost. But that was him earning his
Yeah,
spot
yeah.
back.
I remember it was kind of a weird game because everybody was expecting it to be kind of boring, and it turned out to be a shootout.
Mm. Hmm.
But yeah, man, they're just soft defensively. Like teams do whatever they want, and the top couple teams I've mentioned, which it's the NFC's not that deep,
Nope.
but the top teams are so balanced, and at their
They are.
best, they're so balanced.
They are.
You're not winning shootouts with teams that are going to do whatever they want.
I mean, the problem is their schedule for the rest of the year is pretty weak too. Colts, Giants, Packers, and Bears again.
Well, they're so ahead in the division, like they could slump their way into the playoffs at this point.
They could, yeah, but they'll win one, two. They'll win at least three of those four.
And I think they need that. I think that kind of maybe gives them a chance is if they go into the playoffs with like a solid win streak
Hmm.
or just
I
playing
think so
well.
too.
I think it'll help
Yeah,
Cousins if he's coming into the playoffs playing well.
yeah, yeah. Once he gets his confidence, I mean, that's when he plays his best when he's out there and the
Yeah,
team really believes in him. Because you've seen in the past a lot of times, and publicly, the team says they don't believe in him, basically, and he comes out there and actually plays worse, and he proves
right.
them right. But when the team putting a chain on him and everything and all that, they
Yeah,
really like him. So yeah, that's probably why one reason he's playing so well, playing his best, I should say. Uh-huh.
might
Okay.
be. Is it contract time for him?
Mm,
I feel like last time he had a good year was right before he had to get paid.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
I
not
don't know
sure.
either, but credit to him, man. He's extended his starting job for himself to me.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Yes.
no mystery now that there's plenty of roster, and there's a lot of bad quarterback situations right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He could walk in on a lot of teams and help them significantly.
Yeah, and not only is there a lot of bad quarterbacks, there's a lot of teams with major injuries, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
Arizona, I mean, even though Arizona has a solid backup, I
yeah,
mean, they just lost Kyler for probably a year and a half.
yeah. This is
So,
like the worst part of the season because it probably will go into all of next season. So
yeah. I mean, you look
yeah,
at it,
Cousins there would
Baker,
be great.
Baker just kind of stumbled into a starting job with the Rams.
Yeah,
And now, like Stafford's injuries, there's like stories of him potentially retiring.
yeah. Another spot. I mean, they still will
Yeah.
probably take Cousins over Baker, but I mean, it's
Oh, no question.
injuries are so bad this year, and I mean these next 2 years that even if Cousins, even if a team didn't see him as a starter or they see him as a starter while the injured player is on his way out, then it's out there,
Yeah.
definitely out there. Yeah. How do you feel about 49ers and Purdy?
I was kind of disappointed. I was expecting the Tampa Bay game to be decent.
Yeah,
And it was just a pure slaughter.
it was.
Like it really hurt to. I don't know why I finished the first half. There was no reason whatsoever to do so.
They couldn't stop McCaffrey at all. It was actually, it almost felt sad how often McCaffrey was doing whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah, bro. And what hurt me and what really made it a slaughter is Debo going down, and they still couldn't stop McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like you have no hope at that point.
Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a
And
wrap there. And then
if
Purdy even
Tampa
got hurt,
Bay's
and they still couldn't come back.
right. I mean, Purdy was doing whatever he wanted. He got the ball to whoever everybody was open. If Tampa
Yep.
Bay can't defend, they're done.
Yeah.
They'll maybe stumble into the playoffs off the division being trash, but
Mm-hmm.
they'll get 35 zipped.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And now they're talking about Tom maybe not coming back there next season. I think his contract is up next season. So
Yeah, I mean, mid 40s, I'm not going. I don't care what you got to do. I'm not going into a trash roster.
mhm.
And Tom has built that pedigree to, if he's going to keep playing at a decent level, which I still think he's
Yeah.
been decent. I don't think he's been like trash.
He's been decent, yeah.
Uh, but I mean, on a complete roster, oh my God, it wouldn't even be fair if he went to the 49ers next year.
I was gonna say put him on the 49ers or the Rams. Even the
I'd give
Rams.
you a team that's maybe not kind of proven is the Raiders.
Yeah.
If he
That would
decides to
be
go to
nuts.
Vegas, Devontae Adams would just explode with stats.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be crazy. That would be fun to watch though. Really, really, really fun to
Oh,
watch.
for sure.
Yeah. Um, who else did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk
Oh,
about
let me give you the other team that I think has been exposed
oh, okay. Okay.
in the AFC,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's Miami
Exposed?
exposed. It's getting cold. First of all,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
they'll likely not gonna have a home playoff game,
Right.
so they're gonna have to go to somebody to play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not confident they could go to Buffalo. I'm not confident they could go to Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not confident they can go to Kansas City, even though it'll probably be warm there.
Right.
But
And
Tua,
all their next games are in cold.
see, that's wrong. I think
Buffalo,
they're going to New England in like a week or two, right?
Buffalo, Green Bay, New
Oh
England, and
God.
the New York Jets.
Oh, it could literally snow every game.
It could, yeah. It doesn't get much
That's
worse. If they had
horrible.
Minnesota, it would be worse, but
Oh, I
there's really
remember
no
watching them in
it's not.
September and Buffalo dying, getting destroyed by the sun.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Oh,
no,
they
but
play Green Bay at home, so they got lucky there. But
okay. No, but
yeah.
to me, and I had this problem with Baker. Like I was
Mhm.
immediately off Baker when I started noticing this. You can't come in undersized, and like the reason you're a top pick is because you're accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And now that your receivers are being defended much better,
Yeah.
you're not throwing people open.
Right.
I mean, he was again, 49ers strap you, you come back, have a good performance. We're good. It was an outlier. You're back on the MVP track. We're fine.
Yeah.
Bro, the Chargers had him confused.
And the Chargers defense is not that great. I mean,
And
it's good, but
they were missing their defensive player of the year candidate.
yeah,
Like he
exactly.
was like inept.
Yeah, it was really, really, really bad.
That's what was disturbing to me. I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, if they're if whatever defense they face is capable of really like putting completely two guys on Tyreek,
Mm-hmm.
like he's gonna be horrible.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be able to dictate the game like he has been able to, throwing to wide open guys.
Right.
And he's proven. I mean, every time I watched him at Alabama, he was throwing to wide open guys.
Yeah, that's the tough part about the Alabama quarterbacks is that
Yeah.
they have the best receivers in the world.
But
So,
I saw Mac Jones last year throw bums open.
yeah,
Like
Mac
guys
is
who
he's
can't
proven
separate on their own, you got to fucking lead them better.
he's proven he has that eye,
Right.
and that was the one thing Tua they were unsure about Tua if he has the eye to get it to guys like that aren't
And
wide open.
it's not looking good. I'll tell you that.
Right. And Tyreek is someone who does get wide open, and he still really didn't have, still really couldn't find him. He only had 10 completions in that game.
Yeah. And he was like under 50%.
Yeah. 10 for
Dude,
28.
you have the two of the fastest guys in the league and you couldn't throw 50%.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
It's like 30%.
That's horrible. And what made it exponentially worse
Hmm.
was Herbert on the other side was like flawless.
Yeah, Herbert was letting it fly. He threw a
He was looking
lot of
like
passes too.
prime Patrick Mahomes, just darting it all over the field, throwing
Yeah.
every which way, escaping the pocket.
Yep.
I'm like, wow, dude, these guys got picked like one after the other.
Hmm.
They couldn't be more different.
Yeah, Herbert looks so much more mature, and he looks like he has so much more control of the game, of
It
the
just his
field.
potential.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not even a Herbert fan, but if I'm comparing him to Tua in that game, it wasn't even close to me.
Yeah, it looked like a varsity and JV player, honestly.
It did. It did. He was 39 for 51, 367 yards. Mike
Jesus,
Williams alone
39
had
of
100.
50.
Mike Williams alone had 116 yards on only 6 receptions. Keenan Allen had 92 yards, 12 receptions. So,
And
and he,
Herbert has been elite a lot of the year without
mhm.
Keenan Allen most of the season.
And this is the worst. This is the worst stat of it. Keenan Allen targeted 14 times, 12 receptions. Mike Williams targeted 6 times, 6 receptions. Eckler targeted 8 times, 8 receptions.
He's not even
he was
missing. Like he's literally
he
just
was hitting those 3 guys, the best 3 receivers he has. Every time he threw it to him.
man.
That speaks on Miami's defense too, though.
And that's the other problem. Like I'm already your quarterback already looks like a system guy.
Yeah.
And your defense again doesn't look as elite as it did in the September.
Right.
So, and there's a lot of bad, maybe not bad teams, but there's a lot of like mystery teams in the AFC
Mm-hmm.
that look better to me. Like New England to me right now looks better.
Yeah, they look better. Yeah, I'll give you
Again,
that.
I don't
Yeah.
think they are, but they look like there shouldn't be a scenario where they look better.
Yeah. Even the Jets have some games when if
Right,
they're playing really well, they look as good as Miami does.
right.
But like you said, the talent isn't there. But yeah, they don't look that much behind as a team. Even the Jaguars have some games where they look like they can compete.
I look all over the AFC and I see so much more quarterback potential. Like, and he has an MVP receiver,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, there's not a lot of firepower there. What?
And another MVP caliber receiver.
Yeah,
So he has 2 elite receivers. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about them. I don't know if I'd say they're fully exposed yet, or I would say Tua may be exposed, but I think they can still beat most
just
teams um, if it came down to it in the playoffs.
but it's just like I could list off four quarterbacks, and Miami has to stress that their quarterback situation is significantly inferior.
Hmm.
And Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati, and the Chargers.
they're right now competing with Cincinnati and New England for the wild card.
Well, Cincinnati's scorching hot right now.
They are.
And it's very similar to last year, to be honest. And beating Kansas City again. I mean, I'm not sure if Cincinnati's going to lose the rest of the season.
I don't think they are. I think we talked about that last week. There's a very, very good chance they don't. Um, but it's not easy. It's not easy. They got the Bucks, which you
They
never know
have
what
to
the Bucks
win.
are gonna have.
If Miami can win that Buffalo game,
Yeah,
they could save. They're not exposed.
Bengals play Buffalo too,
Yeah, that's a big game too.
and then the Ravens last week. Maybe Lamar is back. Maybe he's not. Depend on where they are. If
I
they
I
if they're
I don't want
locked
to
in,
talk
Lamar
about the
probably won't
Ravens.
come back. Hmm?
I don't really want to talk about the Ravens. I'm okay with him not coming out. After watching Kyler just blow out his knee just in the fucking open field with nothing but grass.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, Lamar pull the Kawhi.
The thing is, he has to come back and show that he's healthy to me to get to
The
still get the contract.
bag. Yeah.
Yeah, because if he leaves on an
That's
injury, then they're
they're
like,
gonna
well,
fucking franchise tag him.
right. They're like, well, we don't even know if you're healthy. But if he leaves on 2 games where he goes crazy, looks good after he's healthy, then they could say, yeah, it was just a tweak and I'm good. And like, I need that back. So I don't want him to finish the season, but
Yeah.
he has to finish the season if he wants the right payday he deserves. Because they're tied with the Bengals right now.
I just I don't trust anything I've seen from Baltimore. Like,
Defense still gives up second halves.
yeah, their defense is like, yeah, they'll dominate one game and be horrible another game. I mean,
Hmm.
everybody's already talked about how many leads they've blown.
Yep.
And I don't want to watch them like holding my breath, praying Lamar makes it through the fucking game.
Yeah. That is the
And
sad reality.
him playing poorly would just like would make me hate the Ravens, honestly.
Yeah.
And I've rooted for them for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. I'm with you on that. Speaking of guys we don't want to come back, Russell Wilson, man, let it go. It's a wrap.
Yeah, the season
Career.
is done. I don't know
Career
about
is a wrap.
career.
Career is a wrap, man. I mean, yeah, season for sure he's done. But what is the point of coming back?
I mean, he's not like washed
We're
up. I know it's years.
He's
Well,
not.
let me take that back.
I was about to say, are you sure?
Listen, I can't defend this season. Like it's indefensible.
Bro,
It's indefensible. Him
it's
him and their
atrocious.
head coach have like have constantly raised the bar for ineptitude.
Yeah.
But the problem is their head coach is first year, never been a head coach. He'll get fired. We'll never see him again.
Mm-hmm.
Russ, you've been again like I've talked about other Russes this way. You've been
Yeah.
in the league for over a decade.
Yeah.
You look like you don't know how to run plays.
Doesn't. I
You
mean,
look like you don't know how to make reads.
right.
Oh my
It's really
god,
bad.
dude. It makes Pete Carroll looks smarter and smarter with every Broncos game. At least now,
Yeah.
now that Russ is done for the season, I don't have to watch that disaster.
Yeah.
Because I thought the entire offseason, I'm like, dude, Pete Carroll is tripping on this Russell Wilson, I gotta be petty thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's what the hell? Y'all were so successful together. Why?
Mm-hmm.
They both made each other look better at times to me.
Yeah.
Second Super Bowl aside.
Yeah.
But
They were a great duo.
but Russell Wilson looks like just like the pinnacle of horrible.
He's 15th in the league in yards, right above Jacoby Brissett. And if Jacoby was still playing, he would probably catch him.
For
They're that
sure.
close.
That was his
He's
first.
only a game behind.
Bro, they were exaggerating the Kansas City performance.
Yeah.
Like they were down 27-0. Yo, how dare you? How dare you as like a sports analyst? And I heard this on multiple shows.
Yeah.
Yo, like Russell was kind of getting back into form. He threw three
No,
touchdowns for the first time all season.
he wasn't
Dude,
getting back in
he
the
was inept until they were down 4 scores to the best offensive team, maybe of all time.
and his, completion percentage only looks good because he was taking sacks like left and right. And bad ones. Really bad
The
ones.
guys are open.
Yeah. He took like two 10+ yard sacks in a row one time, like at one point in that game. I'm like, bro, you're 35 yards from the first down now. Like, what are you doing?
Bro,
And
you know who he's
they
honestly looked
still
like to
do it.
me? He's looked like a slightly better Zach Wilson. Like Zach Wilson
Zach Wilson
got
with a good attitude.
exposed. Not just the attitude, because Russ is a little more obnoxious with his kind of attitude, even though it
Yeah.
doesn't seem as like team killing.
Yeah.
But dude, like again, Russ has been in the league so long, and he looks like he's just doing random shit out there.
He does.
Which again, Zach Wilson's in year 2. He's on the Jets with a defensive coach. Like I could give you a pass for that. Now that Mike White has done much better, I can't.
Right.
But again, Russ, I don't care how trash your coach is. Matt Ryan got a win with a guy who's never coached at a high level.
Yeah.
And Matt Ryan is probably more washed up than anyone in the league right now.
Yes.
Russ, you
And
suck. Flat
a
out,
lot of these
you
guys,
suck.
a lot of these guys win with coaches that are inexperienced, and it's not like the rest of the team isn't. It's not like the rest of the team isn't good. They're good,
Yeah.
and he found Jerry Judy on huge, uh, huge plays in this game. But thank God for Jerry Judy because nobody else. I mean, he couldn't find anybody else really.
Couldn't find Jerry Judy the first like 2 months of the fucking season.
Right. Yeah.
He's just horrible, man. Like, there's no defending it.
I really don't think he should come back, man. He's 34.
It doesn't feel like
Haven't-
football is like his passion.
No, it doesn't seem like he's focused on football. And listen, in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, I'll just say the whole season. He hasn't thrown 3 touchdowns at all this whole season until
Not
this
not
game.
even has he even thrown 2 touchdowns that many times?
Once.
Once.
Yeah,
One
one game with 2
time.
touchdowns. Yep. He has less
Bro,
touchdowns than he has games that he's played this year.
bro,
He doesn't even
we
have a
paid
touchdown
you
per game.
we paid you $250 million. You motherfucker. You fleeced us.
12 games, 11 touchdowns,
Dude, I like
6
this is me
interceptions.
completely imagining. Obviously, I'm kind of joking, but I have like a horrible like fantasy that he walked into whatever that he met with the ownership,
Yeah.
and he knew deep down he was like this organization is desperate for an elite quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
and my fucking stats, my brand is elite.
Mm-hmm.
These guys will look at it. I have a Super Bowl. I've had success. I've been
Yeah.
an MVP. I've been in MVP conversations.
Yep.
These guys will give me whatever I want.
Yeah.
And what
And
happened?
the fan base isn't as brutal as some of these other places that he could have
that is
went.
true. That is very true.
He could have went to the Saints. Are you kidding me? Playing like this in New Orleans? No way. He could have went to a New York team. No
Dude,
way.
guys have like one bad performance, and certain fan bases are calling for the backup to step in.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Dak just had a rough game against probably the worst team in the league.
Hmm.
And it's, where people are back to scratching their heads. Like maybe our average backup will be more successful.
And he won that game. So imagine if he lost that game. Like like what Russell Wilson has been doing all season.
Again, he's just been horrible.
Yeah. So Steelers, you think they'd accept this kind of play from a Steelers quarterback?
No.
Heck no. They'd be calling for Tomlin's job, and he's cemented.
He wins every year.
Yeah. So yeah, Russell, man, look in the mirror and just seriously consider it. I would say because I get it. He's not complete garbage, but it's like I watch and I don't know why he's playing. Like I don't like that feeling from any athlete. Me watching them like, yo, why are you still out there, dude? Like, what is this for? What is are you? This is your job. It looks like just a job to him at this point. 3-10, 3-10.
Yeah. I mean, I told you I was disgusted. I mean, I've been disgusted so many times.
Yeah.
But losing to Tyler Huntley, not being able to get a fucking point against Tyler Huntley for 3 quarters is atrocious. Against a team who's blown more leads than anyone else this year.
Yep.
Trash. Just trash.
Almost more than anyone in
Honestly,
the history of football
the
this
more
year.
I kind of picture what I've seen from him, you're right.
He had 0 touchdowns in that game. 0.
Zero.
So, I mean, Tom can still throw a touchdown every game, and he's 10 years older.
Yep.
It's okay, Russell, man. It's all right. Go do
Might
what
be
you
time.
really want to do.
But it's just the
Um,
Broncos just gave him $250 million.
yeah. Well,
And
however
he's
much that is
this washed
guaranteed, I guess
up.
he can go spend that at home.
Man, Broncos
Some of
are
that's guaranteed, I know.
Denver is down atrocious for another decade, searching for draft quarterbacks.
They're not very good at that either.
No, they're not. And they have a GO quarterback running the show too. That's just fascinating
Yeah.
to me. A guy who was a historically great quarterback drafting trash quarterbacks. Like that is just hilarious.
It doesn't happen in any other sport.
No.
Yeah. All right. You got any more football?
Um, not that I can remember. No, I think that's pretty much it, man.
Uh yeah. What do we got this week? Let's see. 49ers, Seahawks, Miami and Buffalo. That's the one we talked about. That's gonna be
Yeah.
a really good game. Should be a good game. None of these other games. Bengals, Bucks, that might be cool. Titans, Chargers. Mm,
That's a big like one of those both of those teams need that game.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
And the Chargers, like I swear the Chargers either suck enough to make it a good game or dominate enough to make it a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Like they never seem to blow teams out.
They don't. And I agree. It is kind of strange. I don't know why it works that way, but that is how it goes for them. Um. All right, let's move on to the league, the association.
Yeah.
Uh, what do you want to talk about first? We had some things we wanted to mention. Where do you
We
want
can
to
start
start?
with Boston.
Boston. Boston. What they lost 2 games in a row and then came back as and
Yeah, they
beat the
beat the
Lakers.
Lakers in overtime. Tatum
What
Tatum had a nice bounce back.
huge bounce back. 44, 9, and 6. That was a great game. That might be the best game of the year, even though the Lakers
Was a good game.
were trash in overtime
I like what I saw from them in throughout the regular game.
regulation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I've
regulation
been
really good.
positive on the Lakers. Again, AD, as long as AD's dominating the rebounds, I really don't care what else they do. They'll be competitive.
Yeah, and I mean Russ was killing it on rebounds too, which was impressive for him too, because he really hasn't had that great of a rebounding year as much as he like normally
Yeah.
does.
But
Um,
they better not sit fucking idly by at the deadline, by the way, the Lakers.
oh, they're not. They
There's
definitely
no way. If they do
none and
that,
Beverly are out of here.
I need a public Los Angeles outcry for Palinka to step down or GD Bus to step down. Somebody got to go.
Lincoln will have to step down because he hasn't his contract is up and he hasn't signed yet. So they're probably waiting to see what he does at this deadline before they sign him and re-sign him.
That's a smart move.
Uh, okay, so what about Boston?
I feel like people are very negative about them since specifically the Golden State loss.
Okay, was that a surprise them losing to Golden State to you?
Only because of one thing.
What?
Wiggins didn't play.
Yeah, and Golden
I
State strapped.
I missed the game, so I had to rewatch a lot of what happened.
Yeah,
And obviously a number of people told me like, yo, Tatum is fucking horrible. Like he's playing like it's the finals all over again.
it
And I
was
was
worse
like,
in the finals.
my first thought was Wiggins might be the kryptonite.
You didn't even realize Wiggins was.
And then I obviously before I got to the highlights, I checked the box score and I'm
Yeah,
like, oh no. Oh no.
yeah.
And then Clay went crazy.
Clay
I'm
had a
like,
great
oh
game.
no.
Yeah,
So to me, that was kind of the two things I took away. I mean, again, Boston is so good. I'm not overreacting to Tatum struggling. He's done this for years.
yeah. He does it often.
You know, he'll do that and then dominate, put up 44.
Yeah.
Again, to me, Boston is still as balanced as ever. They settle for a few too many jumpers.
And it's the kind of jumpers is not and I mentioned this about Tatum and I think some people took it more negative than I meant it. I just Tatum is a elite scorer, but the thing that separates him from a lot of other elite scorers is he doesn't get himself easy shots. He just hits really tough shots and he's good at that. He
Yes.
doesn't need to get easy shots, but you look at other scorers in the league, Booker gets wide open mid range jumpers. Everyone knows he's going to take a mid range jumper. He still gets a wide open mid range jumper. Tatum maybe gets like 2 open shots a game, and it's just that's just how he plays. And I'm not saying it's anything bad because he can still get buckets, but that kind of scorer, the shots are rarely reboundable. It's not a lot of second chance points. He's usually out of position when it's time to get back on defense. Um, So when he's someone like him isn't shooting good, it affects everybody on the court
Yeah.
because usually everyone else is out of position too when he takes those kind of shots because you never know when it's going up. It's not like it's a play designed, all right, when Booker gets it here, that's the shot. Everyone's ready because they know when he gets it at that spot, he's putting it up. With Tatum with the step backs in people's eyes, getting
Yeah.
high fived, they go in and he looks elite when he hits those, but games like the Golden State game, he wasn't making them. And, Golden State's transitions are usually 3 points, not 2 points. That's what makes it really
Exactly.
dangerous.
And that was kind of what frustrated me was like, okay, Tatum had a bad like he was coming off of bad finals. It shouldn't really
Yeah.
surprise that the same team who he struggled against in the finals kind of dictated like some of the bad shots he takes.
Yeah.
But
Because they know.
The Splash Bros went off for 70 and nobody gave a fuck.
Because we know they do that. That's how they
But
do.
Clay looked horrible most of the year. That
Yeah, he
shocked
did.
me. That shocked me
He
that they in tandem dominated.
Clay's been really on and off really on and off.
Super
But the
on
thing
off.
is, um, Boston, Boston, knowing that that's possible, you would think that they would be more prepared for something like that.
No, no, no. That's the Splash Bros. If they're on, it's there's no preparation that works.
Yeah, but I mean, no, there's no preparation that works. But I don't know. I just thought they would try to get other people's shots. There's no Wiggins. Let's try to let Poole beat us. Let's double. They couldn't do it.
Nah,
It
ball
was just
movement was
tough.
too quick.
It was ball
And
movement was
Steph
great.
and Steph is just like a different level of focus this year,
He was.
which I didn't even think was possible. But
Yeah, and the other thing is for Golden State, the other guys played really good. Poole played good. He had to start at the I don't even know what position he was starting at. He played good. DiVincenzo came out there and gave really good minutes. He didn't score that much, but he played well. And Kaminga played fantastic in this game.
yeah,
Yeah, so I mean,
credit to him. I mean, I guess I felt like a hater coming off of seeing what happened in this game because I really wasn't that impressed with the Warriors.
hmm
Again, it's still they don't get layups like they used to.
no, they don't.
They don't get layups like they used to. Their defense isn't as good as it used to be.
hmm
I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe it's Draymond and Clay kind of regressing, but it makes it kind of seem like other guys have regressed.
Well, the team has regressed. We talked about that all year. But now most of the time when they bring in their bench, there's a mismatch somewhere. Like DiVincenzo can only guard one position, and he just is okay at guarding that position. Um, Lamb, the other guy they bring in there, he really can't guard that well. He gets exposed.
Yeah, Kuminga's a
Kaminga,
hack box.
yeah, Kaminga off the switch is bad. Poole, if Poole gets switched, it's a wrap. So they kind of have, like when they had Porter and Peyton, those guys could switch on pretty much everybody. So the switching was better. It was quicker. They got the ball out quicker because everyone was just ready to take off. They just don't have that defensive depth that they used
Yeah,
to have. Uh, and then not having Wiggins out there definitely hurts.
and it
Hurts in that
hurts.
kind of
That
game.
that's again, that's another thing that kind of proves how awful their rotation is.
hmm
Wiggins is out, and like they just don't look as athletic, as versatile, as like they can't run as many things well.
Yeah,
And again, I couldn't really say anything because the Boston game, the Splash Bros shot the ball so well that it covered all that up.
yeah,
And then
and
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 then another contender came locked in and showed us what it actually looks like.
right.
No Drew Holiday, it's fine.
hmm
No problem. Middleton is barely getting back. No problem.
Yep.
Giannis, you know what Giannis does? Rim, 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 layup, layup, layup. I mean,
Yep.
they destroyed them inside,
He
which
did.
is what I fantasized when I pictured Milwaukee potentially playing Golden State in the finals.
hmm
Because Milwaukee, to me, again, I've talked about their lineups. They got Brooke Lopez. Most teams can't box out. Bobby
Right.
Portis. Most teams can't box out.
hmm
Giannis, essentially, no one can box out.
hmm
And then on top of that, Drew Holiday is 6'6", and Middleton is 6'8".
Yeah. Huge
Like
lineup.
they're huge, and it mixes
And
so well because the roles are so clear.
they're all inside outside threats too.
Yes,
Bobby Portis in the corner is becoming like knockdown. And
yes.
Lopez has already shown us he could hit threes as good as pretty much any big in the league.
That's why Milwaukee's always so dangerous. That's why they were so dangerous without Middleton last year. Was because
Yeah.
they're like prone to really expose you inside.
Yeah, and the thing is, and you're right about exposing inside because even that Celtics game, they didn't have Horford or Rob Williams, which we know. They like I think Blake played a lot of those minutes. Grant Williams played like a lot of center minutes in that game,
Yeah,
which it's hard to win with that alone.
Yeah.
not having Horford, but um, and Wiggins is someone that you definitely need more in the Milwaukee game because you need someone that can attack the rim more. Because
Yes.
I mean, not that you're going to score every time, but you have to be able to attack the rim against Milwaukee because you have to get Lopez, Greek Freak, Portis in foul trouble. You have to draw them in so you get more looks on the outside. You have to be able to play inside outside, and if you don't have probably the best, most athletic player on the team, it makes it tough.
Yeah.
If they were in a series and they didn't have Wiggins, there would be no way. I wouldn't think they could win against Milwaukee at all.
I couldn't really picture them. Maybe a game. Maybe Steph goes nuclear and they take a game.
Yeah.
I mean, they need game six Clay in game two.
Mm-hmm.
So, I in again in the past they've been small.
Yeah.
I've seen them play small extended stretches. They'll like a big man will miss a month and they'll go small ball like for extended period of time.
Yeah.
They've never played small.
Yeah. And the thing is, they've always had their team has always been more versatile than it is now. It's like the least versatile I could imagine. I can remember the Warriors team. I mean, they don't even have Iguodala who would
Yeah,
play everything, like every position.
yeah.
Um,
And that is another. I
and
think them not being able to match up with teams just
yeah,
again is another way they look more limited.
yeah. We mentioned now the 15th is up, so today is officially the day where 80% of the league becomes available by trade.
Yeah.
80%, which is a crazy amount. We're definitely going to start seeing some trades. A lot of the teams that were going to make trades held off until now to make trades,
Mm-hmm.
so that's going to pick up because I think a lot of these teams this year more than most years that I can remember, teams are like really getting exposed like early. Like their flaws are very clear early.
Yeah.
Um, so Warriors is definitely one of those teams. They have to get more versatile on the bench. They have to.
They
Wiseman,
have to do something.
Wiseman, I think his time is up. Some of these other guys, they got the young guys. I think they've been playing them a lot, so they could be trade bait because it's just they have to do something immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of other teams we didn't talk about, but
And now that
or
Steph,
about
the
huh?
Indiana game, he's gonna miss some time now.
Yeah, looks like it's a shoulder injury. They haven't announced what the injury is yet. The MRI was as we're recording this. Um, he was getting the MRI, so we'll find out soon what
Yeah,
kind of time it is.
hopefully he'll be okay. And again, Clay has stepped up a bit, even though it's still inconsistent.
Hmm.
That I feel like there's some hope. But like
Yeah,
if they get on a stretch where they're playing, Denver, Phoenix, I mean, all these teams got bigs,
yeah,
and Draymond is not strapping Jokic by himself. He's not strapping even Aiton by himself.
right.
So I worry about their ability to kind of survive the length of the season.
Yeah, I agree. When they get, I don't know how long Wiggins is out, but if they get Wiggins back soon, we've seen Cool pick up some slack. Uh, 2 days ago says Wiggins should miss at least two more games. So hopefully he's not more than that. But we've seen Poole pick up some slack, and if they have Wiggins and Poole, they could still beat some of the bottom tier teams. But
It's been a struggle though, man. Like, I mean,
it has,
Indiana just took two from them.
yeah,
They got to go to
yeah,
overtime with teams like Houston.
yeah.
So I don't know if it's as easy as it seems.
No, it's definitely not easy. It's definitely not.
So to me, like I guess the overall point before we move on is the Boston game was more of an outlier than the champs are back.
Okay.
You know what I
I
mean?
would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It showed flaws for both teams because
Yeah.
we talked about the Warriors' flaw. I think in Boston, I think really the only thing is can they win with Tatum shooting bad, and they're not really showing it much this season. Um, I think they can, but it's not looking like they can sometimes. Um, because this
I have
was
a
a
bad
winnable
feeling.
game for them.
I have a bad feeling Boston's gonna again be better than a lot of the teams they face in the playoffs, but it's gonna go 6 or 7. Just because they're gonna turn
Yeah.
the ball over and give games away.
Right.
Like
And
that was the
oh, go
one
ahead.
problem I was hoping they would fix, and they
Hmm.
haven't.
Right. Right. And the shot distribution has gotten a little bit better because their depth is better because now they have Brogdon and Brogdon and White together make White a little bit better, I think, when he doesn't have to handle the ball so much.
Which is
And
surprising. I
he's
wouldn't have
been playing well.
expected that.
Yeah, me either. Me either. Yeah. I think he's a better cutter and better quick slasher, so
Yeah.
that's helping him. So the shot distribution gets better, but for some reason, I think those guys are easier to guard when Tatum is off because you're not so worried about the help. Uh, those guys don't get a lot of second chances, like I said earlier, but
I
we'll
just
see
I
as the year goes on. It doesn't
it's
happen often.
weird with Boston, like with how Milwaukee can win any night against anyone just off their size.
Yeah.
Boston can do the same thing with their defense.
Yeah.
Like Boston could just lock up to the point where even if Tatum isn't involved or they're not moving the ball well, like it doesn't matter.
They don't do that often though.
But they're capable.
They are capable. Yeah.
And
They
I
are.
feel like like we could be confident enough that they could turn it on.
Hmm.
Um
I would say yeah, I would say yeah to that. I agree. I agree, but they need their bigs back for that.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. It's not gonna be Blake Griffin doing that. Unfortunately. I love
I,
Blake, but
I just feel like Tatum's bad shots, like I really wouldn't mind if it was just him. If it was
mm-hmm.
just him only like being kind of the sole source of bad shots,
Yeah.
I could kind of see like, he's like to your point, he takes tough shots, he's a tough shot maker, he's an ISO mismatch, but it kind of like
Mm-hmm.
infects other guys' shots.
It does. And that's the problem. And part of it is because he doesn't pass that much out of those tough shots. Whereas like where Luca doesn't really take a lot of tough shots. I mean, they're tough looking shots,
No,
but if
not
he's in
for
a
right.
right, if he's in a bad place, he passes it and somebody's wide open and they get an easy shot. Tatum, if he's in a bad place, he still puts it up somehow. He does an extra move, he does a harder step back and gets it off.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys when they get the ball, it's like that might be the only time they're gonna get the ball, so they do ISOs as well. I don't know why they have a set. Their set is like ISO, 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 and not a lot of
I
movement.
know. And then like Smart starts throwing up bullshit. And then Brown is like only shooting jumpers for a half. It
Yeah,
just like this shouldn't happen.
right. But on the flip side, them shooting bad shots would be okay if Tatum only shot good shots.
Right.
So it works both ways. Like you said, it can't be everybody taking bad shots, and it can't be um Tatum, taking all
Yeah.
bad shots.
And
So
and to give Tatum like credit, it's not like 2 years ago where he was like 90% of games he was just throwing up, Kobe type of shots.
right, right. He
There
has
are
gotten a lot better.
nights, there are nights when he's playing off the team, he's
Hmm.
playing like he's moving without the ball. And on those nights, he looks like a top 3 player.
Yeah, he does. He
It's just
does.
like we only see it maybe 30 to 45% of the time, maybe.
Right.
And
And
that's gotta go up.
that's the reason why we've as a basketball community has been begging Boston to get a real point guard. It's not because we think they necessarily need a point guard. We just need someone to pass and get some people some easy shots. That's it.
Yeah.
because they don't have anyone still that
It's
like
weird
really
that
makes.
Brogdon. I thought Brogdon would be that, and he's been more of like an efficient scorer.
Yeah, and he's never really been like a I'll get everyone open kind of guy. He's been like a game manager. He could bring the ball up court, and he doesn't. No one's gonna steal it from him because he's so
Yeah,
strong and
yeah,
aggressive,
he
and
is
he
good at that.
hits guys that are wide open. But he doesn't like draw and kick. He's not that kind of guy.
But I didn't expect him to hunt mid range shots like he has been, to be honest.
It's been pretty. It's been nice though.
So
Really
I
good
think he's
addition
going
for
to be
them.
huge for them in the playoffs.
And he's someone that only takes good shots. If,
Right.
if it's not easy or open, Brogdon's just not going to take it, which I love about him, and which they desperately needed, and it has made an impact on the team.
Yeah. He's
Blake
again,
Griffin's
he's
another
helped a
one.
ton.
Yes, yes. Um. Okay. Let's talk about Phoenix real quick. How do you think Phoenix looks right now?
Soft.
Their injuries. They're in and out of injuries. But CP for the last 5 games, I want to say. I feel like him and Booker play like one game before Booker had to go out and him being there by himself after he had
Yeah.
missed a few games, right?
Yeah, you might be
I
right.
think they had like one overlap game. Um, it's not looking good, man.
And their overlap game was the Boston ass whooping, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm, right, right. I think you're right. Um, their depth looks bad because they have a lot of injuries because Crowder is still in limbo. Not sure what they're doing with Saric.
He's playing last I saw. I mean, I haven't watched him in
He's
about a
playing.
week, but
Okay.
he's kind of, he's part of the rotation.
Yeah.
My thing is in the past, I mean, last year, throughout the season, they were obviously the best team just as far as winning, and they were playing so well. They moved the ball so well, and all their guys looked good.
Yeah.
To me, their ball movement really hasn't changed. They still kind of get guys touches in spots where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But now only two guys have ever looked good to me. I know Booker's had big games, but he's really not been one of them.
Right.
Only Ayton and Bridges have looked really good.
Yeah, and then the problem is they never consistently give them looks.
Right. Like,
And those are the
uh,
guys that do look the best this year.
yeah, like Bridges has shot the ball fantastic, but he's like an afterthought in the offense.
He is. Yeah.
He has to routinely go out and get 30. There's never like a concerted effort, which with D Book, I mean, we spend entire quarters getting D Book the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, Ayton, every time we move the ball well, Ayton gets a good opportunity.
Yep.
But we can't run anything through Bridges, who's not really a turnover prone guy. Like Cam
Yep.
Johnson, I feel like shouldn't really dribble too much.
Right.
But Bridges is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just still out there like what he was 2 years ago, a 3-and-D role player.
Yeah. Who doesn't get, much shots, who has like a limited role still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, in the past, you moved the ball so well. Your role guys look good. Campaign looked good. The other wings like Crowder, like Torrey Craig in the past have looked good. None of these role guys look good.
Right.
Like
Right.
you have all these bigs and some random is getting minutes.
Yeah.
Like, what is
Yeah.
going on?
You talking about Jock Landale?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I apologize to him that I forgot his name, but he's a
Yeah.
scrub. Like, what do you want me to say?
Yeah. Yeah. And Aiton has to get hurt for Biombo to get any minutes,
I
who
don't
looked great for them
understand.
last year.
Biombo was elite last year for like half the year.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
Monty Williams' problem with bigs? Like, what is happening?
And listen to this inconsistency, and it's not on him. It's just the inconsistency in his opportunities. for Aiton. And this is going backwards from last game. He got hurt in the last game, hurt his ankle. He only had 5 points. Before that, 28. Before that, 28 and 12. Before that, 25 and 14. Before that, 8. 8 points. Before that, 20. Before that, 25. Before that, 8. Before that, 30. Before that, 17, 29, 28, 14, 13, 17, 14, 14, 9, 16, 7. It's
So
like,
in now that guys have been out, he's actually stepped up.
yeah, when guys were out, he stepped up. But it's still like when they come back, because the Boston game, he had 8. He only had 8.
And
And
they got
that's when
fucking annihilated. Like, the parallel is
right.
right there.
I don't really see why Monty can't see that. Yo, Aiton is probably Aiton is probably their most like unstoppable player. And I don't mean that he's unstoppable, but I mean he's their best mismatch against
Absolutely.
guys. Because
Absolutely.
Booker needs so much movement. He needs everyone on the court to be involved in him getting his basket a lot of times. Yeah, he can score one on one, but when he gets a good one-on-one possession, it's because he's went through 4 different screens. Someone's passed it one way, they went moved off the ball, hand off, all that stuff to get him the
Right.
ball. Aiton is an easy mismatch, and he's still probably top 5 most athletic bigs in the league. That is like a also skilled.
Yeah.
Um, Still runs the floor well. They don't find him. He gets great rebounds. They want kickouts. So I I completely agree. It's Bridges and Aiton for them that can change, that can determine most of their games.
And you're not going anywhere in the playoffs like that.
No, you're not. Not if you don't maximize them.
Because Booker is going to get exposed. Because now I got to ask Booker to do other things. Like what?
Right.
Like what is he
Which,
going to fucking do? What get the February assists that he loves to get
right.
that I never see in the fucking playoffs?
Right.
I mean, last year when CP was out that like month and everybody was all excited about, oh, CP finally got hurt at an actual convenient time and isn't going to miss the whole playoff run. He was
Yeah.
averaging like 10 assists at one point. And in the playoffs, couldn't get Aiton the ball one time.
It was a really, really short stretch, but yeah, he did average a good amount of assists. But any other time, if CP's out there, Booker gets he not a good assist guy at all. And he's not a
No,
good point guard,
not a good
even though he
decision
gets
maker.
assists. Exactly. Exactly. His assists come from him getting double teamed. And I always call him Michael Jordan assists. There's no shot at Michael Jordan, but most of Michael Jordan's assists were because he didn't have a shot. That was the
Yeah.
only reason he passed it. The same thing with Booker. Booker gets to a spot, he gets doubled. Oh, look, somebody's open. We're playing 5-on-4 right now, and then he gets his
Yep.
assist. So
And on top of that, they're not good at any of the intangible basketball things. They don't rebound that well on either end.
nope.
Uh, again, they're soft. They foul. They don't really
Yeah.
defend. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they look like every time they play Luka, it's like they play him for the first time. Honestly,
Even though they see him in their nightmares from last
right? Who
playoff,
sunned
yeah,
them last year?
yeah, and this year
You're
so
right.
far. Um, yeah, I think one reason why they're so bad at rebounding is because they play such a like their 4 out, 1 in game on both ends of the court gives Aiton like no relief. And a lot of times other teams double Aiton on the rebound. Like when the rebound's going up, they have 2 people boxing out Aiton. And everyone else just gets back because like
Yep.
no one else even comes to the rebound. Cam Johnson is 6'9", doesn't get rebounds. Um,
Bridges is like 6'9" too.
right, and he doesn't really go for rebounds either. He's usually the furthest away from the basket. Booker and CP obviously don't
Yeah.
get rebounds. So I think they probably could benefit by having a real power forward on the roster, which they don't have a single one. There's not a single player listed at power forward on the roster. Oh, I'm sorry.
You've been playing
Ish Wainwright is. whoever that is. No disrespect to Ish Rainwright, but no one else plays power forward
Real
on the
athletic,
roster.
real raw and athletic. He's another scrub they force out there.
Right. So,
They actually started him a couple of times.
and then was it Phoenix that the other day I told you I think it was Phoenix. I said I wish they would actually play like position basketball for once.
I
Wasn't I
think
talking
so.
about Phoenix?
I think so, yeah.
I just don't understand. I don't understand the 5 guards, 4 guards, one big that has to do everything offense. I just don't get it. Just try it. Let's just try having a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward, and a center out there on the same time. Just try it.
And see, Bridges, even though he's played well, his kind of slight change in role is
Mm-hmm.
an indictment on how soft they are. Because it used to
Mm.
be 2 guards, 2 wings, a big. And you
Mm-hmm.
knew their 2 wings were wings because all they did
Yeah.
was space the floor, cut, and defend.
Yep. And
To
most of the time they
me,
stayed in the corner.
2 years ago, Bridges was a fucking forward, clear cut.
Yeah. His
And
rookie year.
now
Yeah.
he's a fucking guard.
Yep.
He does
Yep.
like he plays every way like a guard.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Just like Crowder was spending a lot of time in the playoffs trying to be a guard, just like Torrey
Mm-hmm.
Craig last year tried to be a guard.
Yeah.
And I praised these guys in the past because of how elite they were as wings.
Mm-hmm.
And all that is gone. Like you said, it's 4 guards and a fucking center.
Yeah. And they wear him out and don't give him the ball. No
He has to
post
cover
ups.
every pick and roll and then clean up shots.
Yeah. And the one problem is with that is a lot of times he's setting the pick and they're shooting it while he's 20 feet from the basket. So I mean, yeah, I'm setting the screen or I'm doing the handoff to Booker and he takes it while I'm out here. There's no one getting the rebound, no one even attempting. And obviously, offensive rebounds is not something that's easy to get. There's like usually only 3 players in the league that is like really good at offensive rebounds. But if you don't at least challenge or at least go for it, the other team gets easy layups.
Yeah.
You got to at least make it difficult for the other team to get the rebounds.
Yeah. And
But
again,
yeah,
when it was 2 guards, 2 wings, and a big, you matched up with most teams.
yeah, they did.
But with 4 guards, you'll never check Luka in your life.
Nope.
Like Luka is too big, too strong, too fucking smart. I don't think you'd ever be able to check John Morant with 4 guards out there.
You know, the funny thing is, a lot of these teams have moved to the 4 wings, 4 guards, 1 guard, 3 wings, and a center thing. How many teams have won a championship like that?
None.
Exactly. I'm
Maybe
looking back.
Detroit, maybe.
Rasheed was a
That's right.
power forward,
Rasheed.
legit.
That's true.
And Tayshaun Prince was kind of a power forward playing small forward,
Yeah.
kind of. If you I'm trying to go back. Let's see. Obviously, Golden State uses traditional lineup. Milwaukee uses. I mean, Greek Freak was a clear 4 on that team. Traditional lineup. Uh, the Lakers, the Raptors. Just go down the line. No one does that. Having a power forward that's 6'6" or 6'8" that never plays power forward out there. No one does that and wins titles.
I just
But
like I don't understand. Dallas is a team you should expect to face in the playoffs.
mm-hmm.
And there's an extended sample size of you letting Dallas's best player do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least with the Clippers in the playoff runs when they had their like 6-7 game series, Luka had to earn some of those opportunities.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, with Phoenix, it looks so easy.
It does look easy.
And against the Clippers, it was Luka feasting and everybody else was like struggling to contribute.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Luka's feasting and somehow everyone else is feasting.
Everybody plays good against Phoenix. Seriously,
Bro,
Bullock looks
Dallas
great.
looks
Dinwiddie,
like the fucking Warriors when they play the Phoenix.
they do. They do.
It's just Luka's like a different scorer than Steph.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking Finney Smith can't miss when he plays Phoenix. Kleber, Bullock, who normally have no problem putting up bricks.
Yeah.
They're
Yep.
always open and always hot when they play Phoenix.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ever since
Absolutely.
D Book tried to fucking get cute and talk that shit, Finney Smith has been hot ever since. Every time
Everyone
they play
has.
Phoenix.
He has. He has. He's ready for it every time.
And he fucking straps someone every time they play too.
He does. They they're another team that give up a lot of threes, a lot of turnovers. It's just yeah, they're gonna have a hard time this season.
To
Their
me, this
record
is
is
the
good right
third
now.
year they haven't changed.
Yeah, and that's on Monty.
100%.
And Monty has to man up and make like a real decision, a serious decision about how they play their offense. I know him and Aiton have that issue, but Aiton has to be a more consistent contributor on this team. We can't have single digit points from our third of our big three. How do you have a big three and one of the guys has single digit points every other game? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. And the one who should probably be your number one option.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't trust CP and D Book to change. Because that to me is who has to.
It is,
Like
but
D Book for them to get tougher, D Book has to become a more versatile player.
he has to, and he's not at all.
Like, bro, could you imagine if Tatum only took mid ranges? Part of
I can't
Tatum's
imagine.
progression is strength, being able to get to the rim on smaller guys, and just
Yeah,
being able to get inside in general.
I can't imagine any of the top tier shooting guards or guards only taking mid range shots. I can't.
Yeah, bro, none of them do that. Beal doesn't do
Nope.
that. Middleton doesn't do that. Clay doesn't do that.
Donovan,
Right.
none of those guys. They're all inside outside threats. They take big threes. Their ISOs result in a lot of times fouls, which is good, but they don't just result in tough mid range buckets on the side of the court where no one else is. All those guys can go ISO with people around them. A lot of times, Booker, the whole court has to be cleared for him to get the shot he wants off because this is such an odd place.
Yeah.
So I do like Phoenix,
I
but
still think they're going to win a lot of games.
they'll win a lot of regular season games.
They'll
Yeah, they
probably
will.
have home court in the first round. I wouldn't be surprised at all by that.
I wouldn't be surprised,
But
but
if they're fourth,
I don't think they will.
and let's say Portland is fifth,
They're out of there.
Denver's fifth,
They're out of there.
I mean, Dallas, no question.
They may be out of there if Sacramento if they play Sacramento in the first round.
Bro,
I mean,
the
there's
Clippers might
teams that
not be
can give them.
healthy, and I'd pick the Clippers over them.
Yeah, there's teams that are going to give them really, really hard time. Really, really hard time.
Most teams. Most
Yeah,
teams will give them a hard time.
the Jazz might be too scrappy for them to be honest, but
They really only match up well with the Lakers.
right. Yeah. Yeah, basically. All right. Let's see who else. Who else we got?
We can talk
Hornets
about
are
the
officially the
Clippers.
worst record team in the league.
Who?
The Hornets. They
That's
did
just
it.
sad. That's just I didn't know that.
They
I
got it
thought
last night.
I thought it was
They are
Houston. Houston's been starting to win a little bit more.
Houston beat the crap out of Phoenix.
I like it.
They're 9-18. Houston is 9-18. Um,
I like it. They were like fucking 3-12 at one point.
they were really bad at first. Yeah.
Yeah, they started off
Um,
horrible.
Charlotte is 7-21.
That kind of shows how competitive the league has been. That the worst team already has 7 wins.
Yeah. The West has no teams with 20 losses. The East has one, two. They have three: Orlando, Detroit, and Charlotte. So
With with Detroit, with what's his name, Cunningham going out for the year, there's a good
The wrap.
chance they'll have the worst record.
Yeah.
Um, and I just never really get a chance to see them, and I don't really care too much.
Right. In Charlotte's defense, LaMelo just came back the
Yes,
game
and I
before
think
last.
Oubre has played very well for them from what I've seen.
He has. At this point of the season, I all these teams that are the players are now available, I'd be calling about Oubre right now
Hundred
because he
percent.
definitely stepped up since the Golden State um rough year he had. He had a really rough year
Yeah,
in Golden State, but
yeah,
since then he's looked great.
yeah, man. And I think Rozier's a guy. I know that I'm kind of reaching, but I'm hoping he gets a change of scenery.
Yeah, me too.
But I mean, they're a lost cause.
They are. I'm not
LaMelo will
sure if
make
they're
them
in.
fun, but you know,
Yeah,
are they winning 35 games? Probably not.
it sucks because um they've lost 6 games in a row, so that's what really took them down. But Lamelo coming back now is going to make it a tough decision for their management to say whether they want to finish this year out or just go ahead and blow it up mid-season. And mid-season blow-ups are always interesting, but they probably could be fooled to say, "Hey, Lamelo's missed 20 games. He's back now. Let's just give it a shot for the rest of the year. Now that we got our best player back, and so on and so on." Or he could say, "Look, I've seen enough. Even with Lamelo back, this team sucks. Let's just move on. We got a lot of good trade assets, good pieces. Let's get some picks." But then now a lot of teams aren't trading their picks because everybody wants Wembanyama. So
Right.
um, it's a tough situation for Charlotte. They're in a tough spot. I think they
Yeah,
should be
man.
open to blowing it up though.
I think they're stuck either way.
Yeah.
I can't picture if you blow it up just to get picks, you're going back to ground zero. You're just kind of restarting everything.
Yeah.
And that I mean you've kind of not really taken off. Like your rebuild hasn't taken off in years. There's
Yeah.
been some excitement, but you haven't like been able to sustain it.
Well, I think the argument would be we can rebuild now in Lamelo's image, right? We can rebuild from a franchise player. They haven't had a franchise player to rebuild around. And I'm not saying Lamelo's a franchise player to me, but to Charlotte, they might see him as one and say, "Hey, let's just figure out what we can do around Lamelo," because Lamelo came onto this team with Terry Rozier and all these guys that they've drafted over the years. And they didn't draft Terry Rozier, but the other guys that they've drafted over the years, Bridges, Washington, some of the other guys they have. But they could say, let's just go with Lamelo and start over from scratch and just see what we can put in the spots or
But
what.
I don't know, man. That's such a like a glass more than half full approach to it. Because you
But
look
the
around the league and you look at the guys
mhm,
who teams build around. John
yeah,
Morant, Luca,
yeah.
uh
Mhm.
Giannis,
You don't think
LeBron. Let's
Charlotte looks
just
at Lamelo like them?
they're trash if they do.
They are trash. The worst team
Bro,
in the league.
LaMelo is not as good as Tyrese Halliburton. Like let's establish that right now. This conversation where you're hinting at like maybe he could kind of be a
Me?
franchise
Whoa, whoa,
piece,
whoa. Not me.
but
Not
even though
me.
you said you don't see him that way, like
Bro,
if
I
Charlotte takes that
don't.
approach, they're trash.
But would you be surprised if they did?
Yeah, because they were hesitant to even play him.
When?
When he first was super inconsistent and was a
Yeah.
raw rookie, they were
Yeah.
trash anyway, and they were trying to like pretend to be competitive.
And he didn't he win rookie of the year?
He did.
And he was an all-star.
Yeah.
So they listen, I'm not saying I like LaMelo because I don't. I was very vocal about not liking him when he won rookie of the year or being an all-star. But Charlotte has they don't have any much promise. He's probably the first time they've had that in franchise history for the new Charlotte since the Bobcats. They haven't had a good rookie.
Yeah, I get it. No, you're right. I don't even like. I can't really picture how you would build around him when you don't even know. What if he's injury prone? What if he
He
doesn't
is.
defend? What if he's a high turnover guy when you play him 40 minutes a night? What if his
Yeah.
jump shot is much more suspect than it sometimes looks?
But the thing is, what you don't for Charlotte, what they don't know may be better than what they do know. They do know how Rozier and him play together. They do know that Oubre is worth a 2024 pick. They do know Gordon Hayward is never going to play a full season of basketball.
All
They do know
true.
Book
They
Night
do know
gets in
all those
trouble.
dudes.
Book Night gets in trouble every freaking month. They lose someone to
A
a
DUI
charge.
every fucking year.
They lose someone to some kind of charge every year. So I'm just saying the stuff that they do know right now.
Dude,
Uh,
Michael should MJ should start putting clauses in fucking contracts. Like, yo,
should
if you get a fucking DUI, you're done.
they do know they lost probably their second best player to a situation
Even
that they're not
worse.
going to get him back. So they have a lot of stuff that they do know is negative. That's all I'm saying. A lot of teams say, "Hey, the stuff I know sucks." So is it worth me going and saying, "Hey, I'm just going to get all picks"? They won't get next year's picks, but the year after's picks. I can get all picks for the 2024 year because they're not going to get Wembanyama picks. No
Thank
way.
you for the reminder. I forgot who's to blame for them being irrelevant again. And it's Miles Bridges. Because I wouldn't have an issue with any of the shit you were saying if he was still there. I
Not coming
wouldn't
back.
or I wouldn't like kind of hesitate on the LaMelo hype. I would be way more excited about their pieces,
Yeah.
but he's gone for being a fucking, for just being a fucking moron.
Right.
So I hate it. I hate it for them, but good luck building around LaMelo. Let's see what y'all can put together.
I'm just saying it's possible. I don't know. I think they're at a crossroads because they can't. If they could finish this season in the bottom three, I mean, it's worse
If
than a failure.
they
You think
will,
they're going to for sure?
yeah,
The
they'll be in
Spurs
the
look
bottom of the
way better
Eastern
than the
Conference.
Hornets.
I'll give them maybe like a couple West teams are worse than them record wise.
Well, they won't be because none of them have 20 losses yet. Not even close. And
Will
Charlotte
end
has
up
21 already.
losing. Somebody will start losing extensively.
No,
San Antonio, I know it's coming.
as soon as
They
they trade
keep
Keldon,
they keep heating up and winning a game here, a game there. No, no, no. I know it's coming.
Hurdle and Keldon Johnson are not going to finish the season as Celtics. I mean, as Spurs. Sorry, as
Hurdle's
Spurs.
not slick, playing way better to be a way better trade piece.
They just they just force it to him now. Like he's, you know,
Nah, but he's been rebounding well. Like if he's really gonna consistently
yeah,
rebound, if my big gets hurt, I'll sneak you in as a starter.
yeah.
You rebound at a starter level to me.
He does rebound at starter level. You're right about that. Yeah.
Unathletic.
So, you said you want to talk about the Clippers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're getting a small sample size of them at essentially full strength.
Yes. Yeah.
Very
Kawhi's been
small
playing.
because it's still like John won't play when Kawhi plays. Kawhi's still barely playing.
John still minutes wise is barely playing.
Yeah, but they're sort of getting back,
Mm-hmm.
like about as much as I expect.
Mm-hmm.
They're not that good.
No, they're not.
They're not that good. The hype, like anybody who's still hyped about this team being a significant Western Conference threat is not
Yeah.
watching them play.
I agree with that. Yeah.
There's nothing defensively. There's nothing to get excited about.
No.
And
Just
they
because they have
play,
two good defenders doesn't mean everybody's
bro,
elite
they've
defenders.
turned guys who had reputations as good defenders into suspect defenders.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love Covington defensively. I don't. I used to
Yep.
like Powell defensively. I hate him. I used to
Mm-hmm.
think Nicholas Batum could slow people down. He's a hack box.
Yep. The Morris is
Ty Lue just prays every night. If I throw him out there as a sixth man, hopefully he doesn't fucking foul today, or hopefully the Zebras don't call it today.
right.
And again, the one guy to me that gives this team off like true offensive versatility is Zubac.
Yeah.
And they still don't want to fucking play him like a legitimate starter.
They still don't feed him either.
Bro, he's the only guy they look competent playing pick and roll with.
Yeah.
And you know who they spend most of the time running pick and fucking pop with? Morris. Bro, can somebody please tell Morris not every shot is a good shot?
He takes terrible shots. He jacks.
Horrible. Like he's a member of a big three.
Yeah.
It's bro, their wings are all just there to shoot jumpers. I mean,
Reggie Jackson's defense is atrocious too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Reggie, we know what Reggie is. There's nothing to deep. I thought Terrence Mann would get better. I was wrong. He's trash. I told you yesterday. I hope he spends an offseason working out with Bruce Brown. Because, like,
right.
Bruce Brown is the kind of player I want him to be at this point.
Yeah.
But this, like, pretend that he's a point guard, kill it, Ty Lue. It's over. Pull the plug.
Has to stop.
Yeah. He just out there passing the ball like a random.
Right.
He's not actually playing point. He's never actually played point guard.
They don't use him at any proper position.
No.
He goes in there, plays power forward sometimes.
They like feed him when a big man switches onto him. Like, bro, I sized that 40-point explosion against Gobert for like a year.
Yeah.
Let's move on. It was clearly an outlier.
Right.
Like, honestly, and I'm watching the game, and obviously the guy I'm really curious to see is Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
Who couldn't get buckets on Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Who couldn't get good shots against Rudy Gobert. The same Rudy Gobert who's Brunson just picked on him. Denver players have picked on him. Portland players have picked on him. I mean,
just about everybody.
Everyone. Obviously, I had Terrence Mann a couple years back, who sucks. Ben Simmons, who can barely score 10 points, has picked on him once upon a time.
Yep.
But Kawhi Leonard can't even be bothered to try to get a good shot. I'll just shoot contested shots in his eye. In the guy who's 7'3" in his eye.
Funny thing is, in the Boston game, Kawhi took a lot of catch and shoot shots, took a lot of one dribble pull-ups, got to the basket really well. It wasn't a lot of ISO going on. So then next game, I guess he thought he was so hot from the last game. Let's ISO, let's get mismatches, let's feed. And it doesn't work. It's just not their best version of the Clippers when he does that.
And honestly, I don't want to. I would never say I know more about basketball than Mark Jackson. I would never say that. But we've talked over the years about how well they move the ball and how well they can move the ball.
Yeah.
And again, we've talked about it countless times how Kawhi like murders it like Michael Myers, essentially. He brutally murders their ball movement all the time.
He does.
And he's shooting the ball horribly. The team is playing fairly well. And Mark Jackson is sitting there like, keep feeding Kawhi, keep going to Kawhi, Mark, why? Why? He's not getting good shots. Bro, he only started getting good shots when Kennard took over the fucking game.
That's when Kawhi is his best. And
Bro,
I don't
guess
know
who?
why no one else sees it.
Minnesota obviously yesterday was missing people. Guess
Yeah.
who had to be put on Kawhi for Kawhi to finally get a good shot?
Austin Rivers.
Yes! That was the only guy. Oh, he finally, when Austin Rivers switched out on him, he
I was trying to
finally
think of the
went to the
worst.
fucking post.
I was trying to think of the worst defender they had.
And you were right.
Austin Rivers, man. It's
I knew
crazy.
you would. I knew you would think that you remember him. Who was horrible yesterday. By Austin, just was awful yesterday.
Yeah. And we
But
wondered why they didn't play him early in the season. I see why.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to talk about Minnesota because they're a fucking mess. We've already talked about what a mess they are.
Yeah.
They're weak link, missing time, and they're still desperate for the weak link to come back. That's how sad they are.
Yep.
But with the Clippers, man, they don't look like a serious contender to me at all.
I don't know. I understand they wanted Kawhi to get back healthy. I know they want to see Paul George and Kawhi again, but after this season, I don't really get what the point of doing this again is, to be honest.
They're average. Like they have obviously because largely in part because they've barely played together. Kawhi and Paul George have no chemistry. This is year
No.
3.
Is it only 3?
Might be 4.
Yeah, I think it's 4.
It's 4. Year 4.
Yeah.
They're finishing their fucking contracts and they have no chemistry.
Yeah.
It took LeBron and D Wade 5 games. It took Jaylen Brown and Tatum like a year.
Like one off season. Yeah.
Chris Paul and Devin Booker had it immediately.
Immediately.
Drew Holiday got there and immediately had chemistry. Like I can list
LeBron
off
and
duos.
AD were immediate.
LeBron and AD. Bro, Kristaps Porzingis and Beal look like a fucking duo compared to these guys.
Yeah.
Bro, Jimmy Butler and fucking Bam look like a duo, and they defer to role players.
Russ and Paul George didn't take long.
Exactly. Harden and Embiid are starting to look like a duo.
Yeah.
But these guys who are like the premier wings in the league. I mean, KD and Kyrie have chemistry. Good God. And they're the 2 most toxic players in the history of the sport.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll go crazy. I'll give you Brunson and fucking Randall look like a duo.
They do kind of.
Shout out to the Knicks. They've been playing a lot better last like month.
They have. They look good.
But all these guys that like aren't even set up to be duos develop chemistry. Kawhi, how dare you in year 4 when you have still no chemistry with the other superstar? How dare you talk about I don't even want to play?
Yeah.
The nerve of this guy. I don't even want to play. Last time you didn't want to play, Jeremy Grant spanked you.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, we haven't even seen you healthy, which was like 3 years ago.
Yep.
So this team sucks, man. They have no identity. They don't commit to any of the things they did well in the past. And my least favorite thing, and this is me just being petty, Ty Lue's turning into fucking Doc. Always, they'll play like trash, and he'll come into the timeout clapping his hands.
I always felt that the Ty Lue thing was overrated. I know people like Ty Lue for what he did in Cleveland, and that was cool, but he had LeBron, who everyone knows LeBron really coaches all the teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know LeBron's really the coach of the team most of the time. LeBron can remember off memory more stuff that happened in the game than Ty Lue could.
For sure.
And I'm not saying Ty Lue's not a good coach. He is a decent, maybe good coach, but thinking he's just going to come in and just turn whatever team they give him into a championship team is just not it. No, it's just not reality.
I'm not even going to forget Ty Lue, man. Ty Lue has proven a lot. He exceeded expectations last year without Kawhi. They
Yeah.
probably would have been in the playoffs if PG didn't get COVID. I
Yeah.
mean, Ty Lue has proven to be able to put good lineups together, put a roster together.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
problem here is this: the star player of this team, the franchise player, has no interest in being coached.
Right.
He has no
That's a
interest.
fact.
Forget being coached. He has no interest in sacrificing to make the team better.
That's the biggest thing. He's never sacrificed for the team.
Never,
Never. And
never, and it's getting
that would be
exposed.
the peak of the team. That would be the perfect version of the team. It would all it would take is his sacrifice.
Because I hate he'll strap Jaden McDaniels and barely even try to defend Anthony Edwards.
Hmm.
Like, bro, you're not slick
Yeah.
at
Like he
all.
gave
Meanwhile,
Anthony
he's just
Edwards like
throwing up shots.
was giving Anthony Edwards jumpers. And like that's what Anthony Edwards does best. Like everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. Sabonis and Fox also look like a duo after 5-10 games.
Hell yeah. Hell yes.
And they look great, man. I love that Sacramento team this year. They're only a half a game behind the Clippers. So Clippers keep playing around. Sacramento will
Yeah.
be in that spot.
Bro, last year the Rockets couldn't win a game and their backcourt looked like a duo.
Yeah.
And
This year
all
too.
over the league. I could list out literally, I could look at every roster and pick out a duo or at least two guys with like really strong chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 4 years in, they run plays separately. They don't run plays together ever,
Right.
which is just sick.
Even I mean Levine and DeRozan had this issue at certain points, but when they found it, they really found it, and it looked amazing when they were
Yeah.
playing together really well for a while. DeRozan was averaging like 10 assists.
Yes.
Levine was still having good games. And only health has stopped them from that. But
We
yeah,
could talk
man,
about Chicago if you'd like, because they've been a bit disappointing recently.
they have been disappointing, and I just wish they could stay healthy too. They're another team that just man, every game somebody's hurt, somebody's injured, somebody's out. Um, Now it's looking like Alonzo's just not going to come back, which sucks, which is
Yeah,
huge, which
sucks.
sucks. Um, but another team that's deep with guys who can get into the game and play, but they may need to make some moves as well.
You know what I think an issue could be for them is like DeRozan and Levine kind of consume the offense because they're so good
Yeah.
that your young guys don't really develop.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kobe White playing with them too, and not really a knock on them, but he's not really going to get better.
Yeah, he's only going to get so good. Yeah.
Right. And like, a lot of their guys, Dosunmu's another guy who I see a clear ceiling playing with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of to the point where we were talking about Phoenix with Bridges, where now Bridges is better than role players that Chicago has. But
Yeah.
again, I feel like Chicago's cast can be better and more productive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's routinely DeRozan, putting on a all-star performance or Levine putting on like I with ever since Lonzo's been out, they've had no balance.
And that's the thing, they don't have a point guard. And Caruso plays point guard, but is he a
He's
point guard
a
really?
no, he's like he's a I don't even know what to call it. He's like an energy guard.
Yeah. He's really like a small forward that's just too short, so he plays point guard because
Yeah.
all the stuff he does is like 3-and-D attack alley
Yeah.
oops and stuff. Like that's not what you need at the point guard. So Kobe White is a scorer, and Dosunmu,
I don't
he's
know
not
what
a
he
point
is.
guard either at all. So they don't
Yeah.
really have any ball distributors, and that's been it's affected the team so badly. And Dragic has never been
No.
that kind of point guard either. I mean,
Dragic
he
Dragic is an exclusive bucket.
yeah, exclusive
Never been
bucket.
anything else.
Yep. So that's been damaging. And then with Vucevic not being a real like I don't want to say he. I mean, he is a threat, but I don't. You never know what he's gonna give you every night. Vucevic. You don't know if he's gonna shoot well.
Why do you think? Because I feel like I have a good idea.
Why do I think he's not
You don't
a
really
consistent?
know what he's gonna give.
Because I think Vucevic thinks he's good at a lot of things that he's not, or at
There's
least
a
he's
lot of
not as
Nurkic.
good as.
There's a lot of Nurkic in him.
Yes, like okay, yeah, you can hit the three, but you're not a 3-point shooter. Like we don't need you to shoot
Yes.
a three every time you're open at the three
Yes.
point line, but he does it every single time. He's kind of soft. He's almost like someone who probably should be playing power forward, but happens to be 7'2", so
Yeah.
plays
A little too
center.
slow to be a forward.
Yeah, but he's also in today's game, he's not athletic enough to be a center,
No.
especially in the East with
No.
Bam, with
Oh.
Embiid,
Oh. Even Brooke Lopez.
with Lopez, with Capella,
Oh.
with Claxton,
I mean, Porzingis, any of these guys are just athletes.
Porzingis, Gafford. I was thinking of somebody.
Jared Allen.
Jared Allen, Mitchell Robinson. We're talking about
Oh,
these
dude.
guys are all freaks.
Robert
And
Williams potentially.
Robert Williams, yeah. Um yeah, we're the East is full of just freak bigs, and Vucevic is the slowest one probably in the whole East. I'm
Oh,
looking through now. It's like
did we mention Embiid? Obviously, who just obliterates him at every chance.
Embiid, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
tell
then
you what.
even the young guys for the Pistons. Duran, and he's a rookie and he's
Oh
a
yeah,
freak.
he's getting a putback on Vucevic's fucking head.
Every night,
I
every
could
time
see
they
it.
play.
I could visualize it before it happened.
And even I mean, Stewart isn't a freak, but Stewart is a beast.
Yeah, he's strong as shit.
Yeah, so for Vucevic to be out there competing with those guys, he's the odd man out, and it's just you notice it every single night. These guys are making these hard drop steps on him. They can defend him better than he can defend them. They beat him down court. They're helping off of him because they're quick enough to get to DeRozan and get back to him in time. I mean, that it's just hard. And
Yeah,
they don't have a power forward either. And no disrespect to Patrick Williams, the jig is up. It's over. His clock for me is out. And
yeah.
that
You've been healthy long enough. You suck.
not trading him for Jeremy Grant is one of the biggest mistakes I've seen a franchise make in a long time because it was a clear W.
Everyone
It was
who
a
had a chance to get Grant and didn't made a huge mistake.
yeah, but but Grant on this team with I mean, and Billy Donovan is part of one of the people responsible for Grant's explosion.
Rise. Yeah.
Yeah,
He took
he
off in
was
OKC. I remember that.
exactly. So it's like, yo, this is a layup. Make the move. Oh no, we got Patrick Williams. We think he's gonna come back and be great. Blah blah blah, and it's not that good. So
You know what I feel like Chicago's problem is?
what
They shoot jumpers.
a lot,
They don't get and Vucevic is like the front and center because he's their big and he
yeah.
shoots more jumpers than anyone else on the team.
Which is disgusting.
It's gross. Bro, and what covered it last year, and it didn't cover it because they kind of fell off to end the year, was DeRozan's historic shooting percentages.
Yeah,
Which is not sustainable.
it's not.
Like, even if his play is sustainable, Caruso mostly shooting corner jump shots limits his impact.
Not his
DeSunmo and
game.
Kobe White are out there way too often just to spread the floor. And like,
Yeah,
why would you even draft them for that?
and Dusumo's really not a shooter either. Kobe is,
Nah.
but
Yeah,
Dusumo
Kobe, I
just
don't
hits
mind.
threes
He heats
sometimes.
up, but DeSunmo's not really a shooter. Patrick Williams is soft as shit. He's out there to space the floor. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why is everybody spacing the floor on this team?
And not getting to the basket. Like if I'm
Right. And
spacing
then
the floor, I need Levine to go straight to the rack. That's what we're
exactly.
spacing
And
the floor
that's
for.
not we're not getting that because okay, Miami used to do that with LeBron and D Wade, where everyone, even Bosh, would space, so LeBron and D Wade lived at the rim.
Yeah.
DeRozan and Levine are taking jump shots just like everyone else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just they can't win that way. They can't
They
beat anybody in the playoffs that way.
they can't. And Drummond, they look they look better when Drummond is out there on the floor, but they just can't afford
He
to have
can't
Drummond
play
out there the
enough.
whole night.
Right. He
Right.
just can't. He's fouls. He's too undisciplined. Like he's a backup.
Yeah, and especially since we pay Vucevic how much we pay him, right? And we don't have another power forward. Now, if Drummond was out there and they had a really, really good power forward for the whole time, then I'd be like, yeah, Drummond can stay out there. But we can't have Drummond as our only big. And then, like you said, he hacks. Everyone else is spreading the floor, and Drummond's just kind of in the way at that point. But it's just I don't think Vucevic fits this team at all. Um,
He's not a
but to your
championship center to me.
no, he's not. He's not.
He's
And
just
the rest of
not. And
this team is championship to me good. I mean, especially when they get Lonzo back. This roster, if this roster won a championship and they had another big, I would be like, oh, I'm not surprised. That's a great team. But
yeah.
yeah, Vucevic isn't. He's not that guy.
And I
He's not
hate
that
that
guy.
he has good footwork around the rim and you barely ever see that shit.
No, you don't.
It's not like
He
with Nurkic. Nurkic, I don't even think really has that good of a footwork. I think he travels a lot, and it's just like because you're in the league, they don't call that. Like Vucevic actually hits moves, doesn't travel.
yeah,
He's clean with his pivots. He has good
yep,
counters, but you see
yep,
it once a fucking month.
yeah. And
The rest
Nurkic
of the
hooks a
time,
lot
he's
too.
oh yeah, Nurkic just is gross all around. But
Yeah.
bro, Vucevic, it feels like 80% of his shots are top of the key threes.
I know. And
And it's
watching it, I get
always
shocked.
open.
Watching it, I get shocked because I go to the stats and he didn't take as many as I thought he did, but it looks like that is all he takes. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, can we get anything else? And then like I go in the stats, oh, he took three, only took three threes. I'm like, wait a minute, I know I saw like six of them.
I know. It feels like he averages like step threes a night.
It does. It's
Like
because every
nine
time he
in the
gets them, he
double
takes them.
digits.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe I can't get that first playoff game out of my head when he was just throwing everything up.
Yeah, and then then you look in the stats, it's only like four. I'm like, bro, I know I saw him take all threes. I know I saw him take all jump shots.
Yeah.
Um, but it is only because he takes every single one he gets. If he's open at all, he's taking it. And that's just it doesn't help them because, like I said, no power forward to assist on rebounds, no power forward to even do a high low. Like last night, I watched the Cleveland Dallas game. They were destroying Dallas with high low plays because Jared Allen or Mobley would catch it at the free throw line. Both of I mean, Jared Allen doesn't take that shot a lot, but Mobley takes it a lot and he can make it. Kevin Love was catching it there, he can make it. And it was just a dump off lob to Jared Allen. It was a dump off lob to Mobley. And they were just doing a high low over and over and over again. They scored probably 25 points off of that. Now look at Chicago, they can't do that at all.
No.
And they have the guys to do it. They have like I mean, Vucevic would be a good person for that, but Patrick Williams isn't the good low for it, or he's not the good high for it either, because Vucevic isn't
Yeah.
the good low for it
I
either.
mean, the way they have him, the way they have Patrick out there, it's goes back to the Phoenix point where four guards and a big don't work.
Yeah.
No matter, I mean, with Phoenix, their big is a championship caliber big to
Yes.
me in
And
every way.
he's proved it. He's proven
Right.
it. Oh, in the championship.
Right. With
Mhm.
like already your big is limited in a lot of important ways, and you're just kind of trying to add firepower to that, which isn't really the recipe for success.
Yeah. And it's not a coaching thing to me. It's a roster thing.
I, yeah.
It's
I
a
don't know what
rotation
Billy
thing.
Donovan could do differently.
I don't either. He has them. They pay Vucevic how much they pay him. He has to be out there for certain links. And Yeah,
Like
it's just rough.
we talk about like Boston kind of has that luxury with Tatum of we have so many other guys we could play through,
Yeah,
and we could play through guys like in different ways.
yeah.
Chicago has none of that.
They don't. They
I,
don't.
I
And they
hate. I
don't
don't
play
really like
through.
anytime their role players have the ball and it doesn't move like within 3 seconds. I'm like, I
Hmm.
don't really like this possession.
Right. And you mentioned this before. Kobe White probably could be someone that you could play through for a quarter. I think Kobe White could give you a very Bones Highlandy kind of quarter
Yes.
every night, probably, but they don't do it enough. And I've seen him do it sometimes. They just don't do it enough uh, for it to gain any traction for the season.
Yeah. I also feel like they
And that
don't.
is on Billy.
I- I'm not sure how consistent his minutes are, but like it doesn't feel like he plays consistently.
I think he sits out for injury too, though.
He has been hurt a few times, but him being in and out of the rotation for whether injuries or not playing well, I
Yeah,
feel like has kind of stunted his growth.
yeah, because he missed a full season and a half. One
Yeah,
point,
yeah,
it was a big deal him coming back. But you're right. I agree. Him not playing consistent definitely has stunted his growth. Playing consistent minutes. No, yeah, yeah. They're a team. I mean, I think Vucevic and um Patrick Williams is a nice package for a lot of teams. I mean, I
yes.
obviously not a lot of teams that are like contenders right now, but um, I think of some of the lower teams. I would like that. I would send three players for that. Three solid
I'll tell
players
you
for
a
that.
team that desperately, and again, Vucevic is not really a championship center, but I
Hmm.
think it could open up a lot of their offensive problems that he causes for Chicago, which is Toronto.
Yeah,
I think
Toronto would be
Toronto could
nice.
use a big man who could space the floor, which would keep Siakam from shooting too many jumpers.
Yeah,
And a lot of their wings kind of slash and attack. So I feel like he'd fit there pretty well.
he would fit there. And now if Chicago had like Precious, Achua, and Drummond down low, I would like that. Drummond would
Yeah.
be solid, a solid starter with Precious.
Yeah.
But he can't be a solid starter in a 4 out. I mean, yeah, 4 out one in offense. This is not his game. Um, but
No.
yeah, Toronto could send a really nice package. Gary Trent and Precious would be all. I would be good with that package by itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there's a few teams that those guys instantly make
I
better.
love that a
So
lot of the teams are not playing like record wise, not really too many teams are playing well.
mhm.
Because that I hope adds a little more incentive to some of these, I guess teams that assume they were going to be contenders or
Yeah,
hope to be contenders.
mhm.
Like a team like Dallas coming into the season, I'm like, they're pretty much fine. They made the Christian Wood move and they're kind of set with who they are.
Yeah,
But now watching them struggle to win games, if there's an opportunity to get somebody that could open up their defense a little bit and give them more versatility,
yeah,
why not?
yeah,
A team like Atlanta struggling to consistently win games,
yep.
seemingly having issues with coaching. I don't know what that's about, but no reason why they can't make a move.
You're right. You're right. Wizards are another one. I mean, there's a lot of teams that have availability to make some moves. I wouldn't do it because Wizards are just getting healthy, but I think New York is a team that they're not struggling, but like on the flip side of what you're saying, they're like, oh, we might be a little bit better than we thought. Do we need to make a
Exactly.
move that could take us over that hump to being like, are we actually in the contender phase when we didn't think we were contenders? Could we make a move to become complete contenders when we're better than we thought? So
And with New
like
York, it's
Indiana,
really New York and like Indiana's another one. I just need you to take a step.
yeah,
I need
yep,
you to take a step. I like what I'm seeing. build on it. Don't try to fuck. I don't need the hero, send half the fucking roster for us
Yeah,
all-star. We don't need
nothing
that.
like that.
Just
No.
strengthen the rotation. That's it.
Yep. Yep.
That
And the
never that
team
can
is,
never hurt.
and both those teams have plenty of pieces that they could say, hey, let's just
Yes.
get our seventh,
Yes.
let's trade our eighth and ninth man and get a seventh man for it. Get someone that's seventh, sixth man worthy of it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. Um, that's all I got, man. You got anything else for the league?
I keep noting Halliburton might be the best passer in the league. I don't know. I wanted to mention that. There's no real reason to talk about Indiana unless we get into trade stuff, but
I'm
uh
hearing that a lot.
he
I
looks
need to
like
see
it.
Halliburton play more because he's really awkward kind of game, but I need to see more of it myself. But I have heard that a lot that Halliburton
But
is
he's gotten much better. He's not like a mid-range killer, but he's
mm,
worked on mid-range shots, especially over smaller guys, that you
yeah,
feel his size a lot more.
yeah. I've noticed that. I have noticed that. Yeah,
Yeah, so I like
yeah.
Indiana's. He's making them look really fun.
Man, they're tough, and the way Matherin is so consistently like a threat for them.
Yeah,
And I mean, he's more than a threat, but the way he comes in every night and is like, Matherin could go for 28, or he could just, you know, he's gonna play good every night, but he's gonna get double digits. Um, it's such a luxury to have, man. Have someone that young, that far down the bench, and I know they bring him in like sixth man, but seventh, eighth man that could get 30 on any night is crazy to be able to draft something like that. It was
yeah,
huge.
and it takes pressure off of some of the more limited role guys.
It does, yeah.
Doesn't put as much pressure on them because so many of their guys are young, obviously. So, you don't want
Hmm.
to kind of throw them in a situation where they have to do more than they can.
Yeah.
And so far, they have a really good balance.
And it saves your starters energy because you can bring in your full bench. They could go 5 in, 5 out and still have a go-to scorer on out there.
Yeah.
Most teams can't do that.
Honestly, if I'm Turner, I still would like to go to a contender, but I'm not as quick to be like, get me out of here.
Right.
I mean, there's a good chance you're gonna be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
There's a
there is.
fairly healthy chance you're not gonna be in the play-in. Like you're just actually gonna be waiting in the playoffs.
Yeah. They're only half a game behind New York right now. And there's teams coming, but yeah, they're easily,
There's teams
I mean, they're in it.
also we're not worried about.
Right. Yeah. They're definitely in it. Yeah.
Miami, I'm looking at you.
Miami. We don't have to talk about Miami today. We'll give Miami another week, but
I can't. Every time I haven't been watching them, but checking the fucking box scores, it's like Jimmy Butler tries not to be their best player. Like he's another guy. I feel like he thinks he's slick, pretending like he's not as elite as he is until playoffs.
I don't really get what the point of that is if you're not going to get a good spot in the playoffs or if you may not even make the playoffs.
I I can't explain his logic.
Is he an all-star this year to you so far? We only have another month
Fuck
before
no.
voting. No?
Fuck no. Kyle Kuzma, get your ass in there. 20 points a night. I love it.
Hey, you better love it because
He's gonna be gone
he's,
soon. I don't know. Just
hopefully he
please not
doesn't
back to
leave,
the
but
fucking Lakers.
that would be really dumb.
It'd be
I
fire
wouldn't
for
let
the
that happen if
Lakers. It'd be
I wouldn't
fire
let
for
that
the
happen if
Lakers.
my agent I would fire my agent if he sent me back to the Lakers if I'm Kuzma.
Yeah.
But all right, we'll have more to talk about there next time. No Wyatt today, but World Cup Croatia and Morocco play Saturday in the
Yeah.
that's the
Third
losers
place.
bracket. Yeah, then Argentina and France for the championship.
Dude, I've played in a lot of tournaments, AAU tournaments first. That like where if you lose the semifinal, you play for third place.
Yeah, the guaranteed games. I
And I
remember those
personally,
days.
I had a really hard time getting motivated for those.
Yeah, it is tough, but at least you're playing for your country. Those
Oh yeah,
guys.
yeah. Obviously here it's different, but
It is
I
tough.
hated how Croatia went out, man. I hated that Argentina like dominated them.
Me too. Yeah. The both teams, basically.
Yeah. But Morocco
Yeah.
was a little more in it. No, they
Yeah,
really
but
weren't. I don't
it was still an easy dub, right?
yeah.
Easy dub.
But listen, I
Um,
mean, for the World Cup to be as wild as it was, to end
mhm.
up having this like historic matchup, I
Yeah.
mean, it's awesome.
Yeah. The soccer gods did their thing with this one, for
I
sure.
know.
So it was fun. It was historic. We got to see a lot of great players have great moments. Uh, yeah. Excited. Who you got? Both games.
For Croatia, I'm picking Croatia for third place.
Okay.
I just think their midfield is like top tier.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if Morocco. Well, I don't know. It'll be a tough game. I feel like,
Yeah.
but Croatia's a little more experienced.
Hmm.
Man, while every part of my being wants Argentina to win, and I'll be
Yeah.
rooting for them really
Yeah.
heavy, my brain is telling me France.
I agree with both picks. I want Morocco to win um in the bronze medal game, but I think Croatia's better. The better team. Morocco has a lot of heart though. So
Yeah,
I do think they have a really good shot, but I saw Croatia too, and Croatia, they're tough.
and I
Um
think that's a. I hate to
mhm.
say it, but I feel like that's going to be a much more competitive game. I don't think Argentina is on France's level.
Mm.
And I hope again, I'll come on here smiling next week if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Like Messi, the fucking go baby. We got it. We're good. Riding off
yeah.
into the sunset.
That would be amazing.
And Messi's a guy very similar to LeBron, has had a lot of international like failures.
Yeah, yes.
Maybe not specifically like him because soccer is obviously much more of a team sport, but like him, he's been a central part of a lot of disappointing Argentina performances.
Yeah.
Because what was the tournament? Copa America is like every other year, every 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
and they've disappointed so many times in that. They've disappointed in the World Cup in the past. You know,
Yep.
this I just like you said, man, the soccer gods. I need them to do their thing. But at the
I'm with you.
same time, I keep looking at France and I don't want to admit it, but they're fucking unstoppable.
They're flawless.
They have no weakness.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe against England, their defense looked a little suspect,
Only for a
but
second though.
that was it. One game.
Yeah.
Besides that, I mean, they've been elite all over the field. They probably have the best attacking players in the cup.
Yep.
You know, they might have the best overall player, probably the most dynamic player.
And they're young. They're pretty young all around,
I know, man. I know. And
which makes it even scarier because they'll probably do
it's
this again.
yeah, it's France is
And they're not
impressive.
even all healthy.
I know.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, dude, that last game, I know it didn't matter, but I've still
mhm.
never seen a team play an entirely different lineup.
Yeah.
Like I've watched World Cup. This is like my third World Cup. I've never seen a team do that.
They're tough.
That's so elite
Stacked.
to me. That to have a roster that like you could do that with in soccer,
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Especially a world team. I mean, so it's not like guys you just bring in
Yeah,
from all over the place just paying to do that. It's like, yo, this is
yeah.
what we have. Everyone. That's tough. Yeah.
You know, one thing I'll say about just soccer in general,
Hmm.
I really love the added subs rule.
Mm-hmm.
Because it used to be a very strict 3, and it kind
Yeah,
of limited, like, you had to often save a guy for an injury, or
yeah,
you could only kind of adjust one side of the ball.
yep.
But now 5 subs, like, you really can, that last 15, 20 minutes of the game now is much more exciting to me.
The whole game is more exciting because guys are really exerting
Yeah,
themselves in
yeah,
this. Because a lot of times in the past, there would be moments where not everyone would run all the way up the field, or like guys would just be chilling. If it didn't involve them, they would just be off to the side, just like you said, kind of out of the action.
yeah.
But now it's like everyone gets into action because like, yo, let's just go 110%. Let's use our whole battery on this. Yeah, I like that. That's important too in all sports.
Because I used to think when I was younger, like, bruh, the way they run, why the fuck can they not sub people?
Yeah, yeah,
So this rule change seemed like a no-brainer to me. I love it.
yeah. I agree. I agree. I agree. All right. Well, that's it for us today. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for next week.
Yeah, we're approaching the new year, coming up on
We are.
Christmas.
Yeah, then January, February comes the
Oh, the NFL
uh
playoffs. I'm ready.
playoffs, All-Star, the turnaround of the league where stuff starts really picking up and people actually start playing for seeding. So
We'll start getting into college a little bit more too. We'll get a bigger
yes.
sample size of some of the draft potential guys, some of the top
Yeah,
teams. Obviously, Gonzaga will of course be overrated
yeah.
for another
I
year.
haven't really seen a lot of talk about top players because of Wembanyama. So um
Yeah, I mean, Victor and Scoot set the bar really high.
they did. They did. So by the time, like you said, February comes around, we'll be able to know some
I mean, I
new.
can tell you now, I've peaked at, Duke, I've peaked at Kentucky, West Virginia. I got a chance to see a little bit. I mean, Xavier, Maryland, North Carolina. I mean, I really didn't see draft picks. I'm gonna be honest.
Maryland's supposed to have some, but just not nothing crazy. Not top
Again,
10, not
I'm
lottery.
missing. I'm seeing small sample sizes, just kind of
Yeah,
tuning in for a little bit. But
yeah,
normally the top guys jump. They stand out quick.
yeah. Nobody's standing out to me yet.
Like I don't see
Like
a Bankero in this class. You know what I mean?
no, yeah, yeah. Me either. Me either. We'll have Tyler Cook back for that because he's probably watching every single game.
I know. I know.
Yeah, he
We
probably
know he's
knows.
locked in.
Yeah, he's locked in. Yeah, so we'll have him on that come January, February. But yeah, follow us, subscribe, notifications, all that good stuff. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.